into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
He did the Monster Mash.
I love this song.
Me too. 'Tis the season. Welcome back, Face Off fans. We're bringing you another after show for your favorite show, Face Off, here at AFTERBUZZ TV. This is season 7, episode 14. Next week's the finale. Crazy. Very excited for it. But I'm your host, Danica Kennedy, and joining me today is...
Hello, I am Aaron Molina.
I'm very...
And we're doing the Monster Mash.
Yes. We're doing the Monster Mash here at AFTERBUZZ TV because we're talking all about monsters tonight.
Yes.
I'm very impressed with the makeup artists that are still in the running. I mean, next week's the finale, so now we know the top 3, but their monsters are so good. There's so much talent.
Yeah, they were exquisite. I mean, we'll get into them. But yeah, some of them were fabulous, amazing. And for the people that are still standing, they definitely deserve to be there.
Exactly. They definitely deserve it. All that hard work and stress.
Yes. Constant cowls breaking and not releasing their molds. Every episode.
Mess.
Yeah. What
Every
a monster
single time.
mess.
Monster mess. They were very excited about the monster theme, though. You could tell. They got to go to the DC stages downtown, and, you know, they learned about some movies where they have the big monster, you know, kind of like King Kong or, you know, some big monster they had to create that takes over a city. So they each get a headline, and they have to recreate this character. So, for instance, Dinez, who she was the challenge winner this week, she did the praying mantis that was like taking over Paris.
Which I loved her little theme, like how it elaborated in the show. It was just like she ate a bunch of like, you know, heads of the male praying mantises, and then eventually it was like, oh, then she just wanted to feed on all the men in Paris. I was like, oh my gosh. That's
I would have
scary.
chosen the same one as her because it's such a creepy animal, or insect, I should say, because it eats the male's heads. I didn't really know that.
No.
It did that. Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it is definitely a creepy. After
they're really
sex, they do
pretty,
it.
too.
Yeah, they are. Very
Ugh.
dangerous, though.
Well, if that's what you're into. I loved the detail on her makeup. The eyes, how she did, like, the shadowing over with like the netting, and it just seemed so much bigger because of the long arms. I think she just like did an amazing job with this challenge.
She really did. And when I was watching the challenge go on, I was like, she has a lot of work to do. And she kept saying that. She's like, I have a lot of work to do. But what was like crazy to me is that she was just so focused, and she made some smart choices, you know, not necessarily creating too many arms or, you know, having anything separately. She just all did it, you know, like it was just, her choices were smart, you know?
And everything was good to the detail. Some of the other makeups this week I thought looked really bad even from far away. And usually it's when you get close up, they get a little weird, but hers just was really well put together.
Yeah.
And the paint job, the sculpting, especially with the head, how the model could see through the nostrils, but you couldn't really tell that those were eye holes.
You couldn't at all. I mean, it just looked so, it literally looked, I mean, it was just perfect. It was just amazing. I loved everything like that. The only thing I guess I didn't like was just a little random hula leaf dress. Yeah, the leaf skirt. But I mean, who cares? It all looked amazing.
That adds so much work to it, too.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
the little leaves.
Oh my, I know exactly. There was a lot of work for her, but I don't know how she did it. I mean, she must have had like 2 Dinas working on. And then I love that she always throws that little allusion to like her cake decorating skills. She's like, I'm just using a little pipe, you know, technique and
Little chocolate here, a little icing here for detail.
Exactly, like last week when she did that little, what was it? It was blood, right? Or something? It was, I forgot what she used.
Oh, yeah, she needed it to be like all sappy looking.
Yeah, there we
and
go.
Swampy, so she used the chocolate.
Yeah.
gelatin kind of mix to make it glisten, and it worked really well.
I
Using
love
the
Tina.
food with the makeup is definitely working out. Well, she was the challenge winner. I guess you could say challenge winner, the top one sent to
Yeah.
the finale this week, and she rightfully deserved it.
She really did. And it's funny when you look back, I mean, since we're now at the second to last episode, I look back, I think back to the first episode, and I just remember not thinking, Dina, like, or
Me
anything
too,
like that.
but now I'm like,
Because there was so many
she
people to
better
choose.
make it to the end.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. There was so many people, even in the second and third episode, you really didn't think Dina, but then as she was progressing forward, and I got like a little like soft spot in my heart for her. I love
She's
her so
so
much.
humble too, and she kind of, isn't the most confident with her work and doubts
Yeah.
herself, and so she didn't really shine for me either till towards the end.
Yeah.
And now I'm like blown away by her, and I think she's amazing.
I know.
And I'm like Team Dina and Team Sig all the way. I'm like, one of them better win because I love them.
That's exactly what I'm thinking too.
I wish that she could have gone a little bit more natural with the colors. And this is getting really nitpicky. Like,
Yeah.
I think the paint job was amazing. I think the sculpting was amazing. Just all the monsters this week seemed so fluorescent, especially compared to like George's. And there's just so much bright color. And I wish there was more blending and more natural tones
Yeah.
to
Well,
a
I mean,
creature like that.
and I was thinking the same thing, but then I was almost like gonna say the judges were gonna have some sort of like negative opinion about that, but they seemed to be okay with it. They were just like, we like that whole '60s spooky, weird, hokey feel of just the movie monsters.
And they are really bright insects, so
yeah,
it works.
yeah, it did.
But yeah, I just thought it was like, whoa, Emerald City Green. Like a little too bright for me for the character. But that's getting super nitpicky.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I really did, like you said earlier, the eyeballs were the fantastic part, and then there was like the camera kind of angled, and so the light was shining, and there was like a little glossy color to it too. So that was super awesome. That I thought.
I agree. I just love how she pays attention to detail, and I think it's because she has that cake decorating background for for a wedding cake. You have to be so meticulous and close up to every little detail.
Exactly, and you're kind of zeroing in and focusing more. So the fact that probably she has like a broader canvas, it just seems like it's like even better for her.
She doesn't seem to doubt herself as much. Like, she'll kind of be less confident sometimes and think that her work isn't amazing, but she doesn't seem to be the type that backtracks.
Yeah.
Where the other makeup artists are like, I need to restart over right away, and then they lose all that time, and the work just doesn't come out as good in the end. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but
Yeah, exactly, and maybe that's just a
she's more
technique that
confident.
exactly, and maybe that's just a technique that she kind of learned in cake decorating or something. That as far as just pushing forward and not really being able to go back and start from scratch.
And speaking about pushing forward, we should talk about Sig.
Yes.
Mr. Westmore's comment to him when he was sculpting. What did you think about that?
I guess I liked it. I feel like
Kinda threw
Mr.
him
West.
off.
Yeah, I feel like and that was the first time we actually saw. I mean, maybe what the show edited in, but this is the first time I feel like we saw Sig kind of freak out about something. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and he was like, I have to walk away, and I was like, whoa, that's like super intense. It's not like in Sig's character. But I feel like Mr. Westmore every week just tells somebody something crazy. Like, I don't know about that blue. And you're like, what about the blue? And he's like, well, I don't know. And then he just like leaves. It's so weird.
Just to screw with their minds,
Yeah,
make
he's
them
just
nervous.
And then Mackenzie's just there smiling with her beautiful dresses.
I know, looking perfect. I love all her dresses, by the way.
Me
Just
too.
Quick little mention, looking fabulous always. Yeah, when he was talking about the face being too gorilla-y,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really get that, because isn't a Yeti supposed to be kind of gorilla-y? I mean, it's more of like a Bigfoot kind of Sasquatchy character, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like, well, yeah, basically, yeah, the Sasquatch essentially. But and then that's why I was a little. I mean, I kind of almost wanted to like rewind. I was like, wait, where did the Yeti crab thing come into play?
Yeah,
it was
well,
like the
that's
hybrid.
the big hybrid is Yeti crab, and of course Sig comes up with this whole backstory about it being like some mutant from the Chernobyl disaster
Yeah.
in Russia, and it mutated. But Yeti mixed with crab is a very difficult task already,
and-
because you don't really know what a Yeti looks like. It's like, Bigfoot, where they have all these different drawings. And
Yeah.
then mixed with crab. I could see how a gorilla kind of face would come out. And then later on, after Michael Westmore's comment, he was like, yeah, I want to get the gorilla face more in there. And I'm like, so now is he trying to aim towards that? Or is he trying to get away from it?
I think he just forgot about what Mr. Westmore said and was just like pushing forward. Like, yep, exactly. You're saying pushing forward and not thinking about it. And
that's what he should do, I think.
Yeah, and he did a fabulous job. I mean, when you think about a Yeti crab, what else are you going to do? I mean, if there was a crab element to it, then that would have been like, there's too much crab. And then if there was, now that there is a Yeti element to it, like the face, they're like, oh, there's too much Yeti. So there was no way to make anybody happy. But I did think that he did an amazing job as far as creating that shell on the back of the creature, where it was like shell, fur, shell. It looks so beautiful. That was my favorite part.
One of the judges mentioned that made it look too Bumblebee-esque. And
Neville was like,
I get the shape kind of looking like a bumblebee and it's yellow, but if you're going to do a crab Yeti hybrid, what other color would you do it? Because if you make it red or like a blue colored crab, like a bright red crab, they're going to be like, that looks like an orangutan. Like, they're going to like say something else.
Yeah, and the Yeti needed to be, the Yeti needed to be white for, I guess, an abominable snowman feel, or I don't know what.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any, and I didn't think.
Blonde tint, like, oh no, I think the color worked out though, and it didn't look Bumblebee-ish to me.
I thought it looked like badass. That's what I thought. It was like super cool. It was like a crazy creature that you would just never expect to, think of.
That weird horn thing in the front too. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That like I don't even know
like
what animal that was from.
Yeah,
but
I know.
It was just like making a monster.
Yeah, suddenly there's a walrus involved. I think we need to study animal anatomy for this show now.
I know.
Because I was like,
the task was monsters.
Yeah.
He went with it. When they said what the challenge was this week, I loved when they just like panned straight over to Sig's face, where he was just like, I'm so excited, like way too eager.
He was super eager. Everybody was excited, and then Drew was kind of just like, I felt like Drew was not excited about it. It seemed like he had like a fake smile on him. He was just like,
I feel like he's not nearly as into the monsters as George and Sig are.
Yeah.
Like you can see them beaming from ear to ear when they heard the word monster, and Dina and Drew were kind of like, all right, cool, like whatever.
Yeah. But I love that Dina at the beginning of the show, she did say, she's like, well, I'm ready to show them that I can make creepy things too. I mean, even though the praying mantis wasn't as creepy, it was still cool.
She's just so good at the beautiful stuff.
Yeah, she really is good at just making beautiful things. But yeah, Sig, he was beaming. You can see he was like a little kid, like in the toy store. He was like,
I agree.
He's like a giant kid. I love Sig.
It's going to be so interesting to see who they end up picking, because even talking about those two, Dina and Sig, they're both so talented, and Dina's so good at making the beautiful creatures, and Sig's really good at taking you away to the monster, like crazy stuff. They're
oh my gosh.
so different. They're all so talented. Like, it's going to be, heart-wrenching to watch. I'm very nervous.
You are so right. I didn't realize how much of a contrast there really is. She's good at making the beautiful
creatures. They're all really good, but they're all really good at different things.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Stressful.
Maybe they'll have them do their opposites, what their weaknesses. I don't know.
Well, the third person that was let into the finale was Drew this week. And I felt like he was struggling this episode.
He was. And I guess in a sense he was like, he pushed through, but it was kind of a weird, I felt like the sloths should have had fur.
I
agree. At least on one side, and then to kind of just elaborate on that burn. Because it was just like, how did the top half of him just get burned? And why is the rest of him why is he skinless? It's like creepy.
He did a good sculpture, though, for the face. I thought he did a good job at making it look like an adorable, slow sloth, but also with the brow, making it a little bit more evil and a little meaner looking and more of an edge to it.
Where it was like the pitch black eyes, and I was like, oh, it looks like a Dementor or something. It was like, it was super scary.
At first, when it had no paint or makeup on it, I was worried because I was like, uh-oh, Michelin Man, wide face, wide neck, but it did look very sloth-like in that.
Yeah, he did, and the shape of it was fantastic, and I did like the claws. I just wish, I wish the creature would have had some sort of fur on it, or more than just the little legs. How come you couldn't have gotten those legs for like a top piece? I was like, where was the top part of that suit? Did you see it? It was like that furry, weird, like pant leg thing.
Yeah, I don't really get what the problem was with the fur he was doing.
Yeah,
Because he spent so much time on that one arm making a furry arm, and then he was like, "It's bad." Lois is gonna say it's bad hair work
he was
again.
just like ripping it off, and then he was like, "Model, rip it off." It was kind of like a little crazy. I felt like he lost his mind for a moment. He was like, "Model, do this, model that," and the model's like, "Ah,
model, do the work for me, please."
Yeah.
But it's stressful if you've spent that much time. Like, it seemed like he spent, I mean, I know that editing's going on, but it seems like he spent almost a full day putting hair on this makeup.
Yeah.
And then last minute ripped it off and was like, I'm going with the burn. It's going to be faster. The thing was, is I didn't think his burn work was that great. Like, it sounds like a great idea, and I think it was a really cool character, and the whole story with the burn and the arms catching on fire works, but it was so bright red with black and just not good shading. It just looked crappy to me.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, it was like whatever to me too. I was just kind of like, eh.
Saying it looks crappy isn't really what I mean. I just think that it didn't look like a realistic burn.
No,
I
yeah, of
guess.
course, yeah. I don't.
Like, it
yeah.
looked like lava with ash to me. Like, the colors were just so vibrant and crazy.
Yeah, and I still don't understand the skinless part. I mean, I guess maybe he was burned up to that point. Because then why didn't the burn carry on throughout? Then it would have been like a Freddy Krueger sloth.
The judges really liked it, though.
Which I found crazy. But maybe they were playing like nice to everybody so that they can keep up the suspense of who they're gonna choose. But
they were really nice to everyone this round.
It was very apparent who was making it to the top, to the finale. It was Dina and Sig, and then with George and Drew. I mean, I guess you would have to go with Drew in the sense, after George's little craziness. But yeah, Drew, it was just kind of.
I feel like it was on par with George's. I thought George had a really well executed makeup. Not well executed, but a great idea, great paint job, cool character. It was the squid that destroys Dubai, but it had this stomach that was like all gooey and nasty, like it was attacking some like oil spill or something.
Yeah.
It looked really gross and creepy.
I like that whole centerpiece too. I mean, the arms were like something where I think he shot himself in the foot, but yeah, the centerpiece was like super sick, I thought.
The makeup itself on the face and the stomach were so cool, but the thing that bothered me was the plastic wardrobe. Not plastic, but that weird fabric just looked so fake and cheap. Like those like tent blow up guys at like the car salesman lots.
Because he was just like throwing it on and like just like blow drying, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, that's all I felt when he was like creating. I was just like, I just wanted to scream with him.
Yeah, if he had an assistant or like another person helping him,
it would have
been the coolest makeup ever. But
he should have hired Dina's assistant, because clearly she had someone.
I know I don't know how she got all that done. It's pretty impressive. They're all under such a short amount of time. It's amazing what they pull off with the amount of time given. I mean, George and Drew both had great makeups compared to like what I would do given that time, obviously.
I'd be like, here's this
amazing.
notebook. Yeah, like, here's this paper, and I just put it on the face, and I would not know what a single thing to do. Well, one thing I will, just speaking of, I just remembered something right now at the beginning of the episode. When Drew called the sloth a stupid creature, I was so mad.
That made me really mad.
It's like, sloths aren't
to bring that up.
Sloths aren't stupid. They're cute.
Like slow,
yeah.
Adorable, lazy.
They're not stupid.
Not dumb.
Anyways, going back to George.
They're adorable.
Yeah.
I feel like when he called Sloth stupid and then picked Sloth, we both were like, oh.
I know. We're like, he doesn't understand the sloth.
He doesn't get the sloth character yet.
I do. I want to live my life like a sloth.
Maybe that's... Oh, me too. Like, sleep all day, party never.
Did you see that
sleep all night.
Instagram video of the sloth just eating carrots and celery and, like, laying down? That's my life, basically.
But that sounds healthier than mine.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it's chips, clearly. But still, just laying down and just feeding myself slowly.
Sloth life, poor life. I'm all about it. Hermit lifestyle. But some people think they're stupid, apparently.
I drew. That was just a wrong word.
I just feel like Sloth would be the hardest character out of the headlines they were given because they're so cute. How do you make it look mean? I mean, I guess you have to cover it with burns and make it hairless because they're so cute.
Maybe you could have like put like blood on his mouth, like he ate something, or I don't know.
George's was just too much. He was trying to make it so big with the 8 arms. He didn't have enough time to make it a good piece. And then the model went way overboard when he came out there. He was like, arms! And then it was like showing midriff, like, oh, that's a shirt.
Yeah.
There's the pants. Like, it killed it.
As the model, is like, why would you just like raise your arms up when you know that like the top part is not connected to the pants? And it was just like, you could see all the like the foam on the bottom of it.
We both were like, when it came out because his midriff was showing. And you're like seeing this little happy trail down there that you don't need to be seeing.
Yeah, I was screaming because I felt violated, not necessarily because I was scared by the monster.
I love how the judges were like, oh, I love how George went for this like hokey Tokyo vibe and blah, blah. I'm like, he probably wasn't trying to do that, but good thing they thought that, even though he was the one sent home anyways.
I know. Don't tell me that again. I'm so sad. I was really rooting for him. I really was. I was hoping for the best. It's just when he had that whole little arm. When it was the whole fabric, like the whole putting the fabric on it. That's when I was just like, oh no, I just don't know what.
It was the fabric. That costumey stuff killed it for me.
But then you think about like what could he have done that could have like,
Yeah, prosthetic the entire body.
It would have.
Gonna do?
I mean, because he could have easily maybe done like a Pirates of the Caribbean, where they had like that little squid makeups, where they were kind of like coming down on the chest area. But then that wouldn't have been look realistic. That'd have been, judges would have told him that's not a monster. So he had to go and create arms. He just didn't. I mean, maybe he just wasn't as confident, or just didn't, think of the right ideas. I'm pretty sure after that competition ended, he was like, I could have done this, I could have done that, I could have done that, countless things that probably would have saved him a lot of time. I think he just chose things that were more time consuming than they were, time saving.
Also, they're probably so burnt out at this point in the competition. I could see them just being like, I'm just going to rip this off and throw this on, and if they hate it, I go home kind of thing.
I mean, we saw them when they would go to their fabulous house, and then Dina's just, like, on the little, like, rug, shaggy rug.
Scenes.
Yeah.
Such a fun cast.
I wonder how they actually, I wonder if they hang out, or, like, they're just, like, antisocial, and they're just in separate rooms.
I feel like they're all just freaking out about their makeup when they come home, like, I hope my mold's drying okay. Hopefully it won't break when I open it tomorrow
That's probably
morning.
just a stressful environment. Yeah.
The show kind of stresses me out when I watch it because I'm nervous for them, and with the dramatic music, it's just
the dramatic music
stressful. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, it's like happy, and then suddenly, and then like Glenn is like.
I feel like Glenn's a secret like big softie.
Yeah.
Like has this like tough guy edge, but is like a big cuddle bear. Yeah. When you get to know him, I don't know why.
He's an interesting character. Let's pick our top judges. I love Lois.
They did that judges episode. Kind of did that, which I'm glad they did that because it shows that they are talented and they can actually judge these talented people.
Exactly. I love Lois though.
Me too. I think she's my favorite too.
Yeah, she's my favorite.
I just love how she can get away with saying like a really bitchy, sarcastic like statement, but she's just so eloquent and it just sounds so proper.
And then what did she say? Perfect. Samurai.
Oh yeah, like the samurai.
Samurai. We're like, what?
I hope that George is still Lois for Halloween.
I really hope so.
You guys will have to help us attack them on Twitter to make sure this happens.
Please help us attack them so George will dress up as Lois Burwell so we can see a photo, even if it's after the season. I would still want to see a photo of that. I think it's hilarious.
Me too. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be all up to date on all these guys' Instagrams for Halloween because, for these makeup artists, this is the time of year they work the most and they do the craziest stuff. So, gotta keep up to date. Let's get into some news and gossip.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
I don't have anything that dramatic to say, but I went to George's house after our face-off after show last week because they were doing a little face-off party. They were watching last week's episode there, and I didn't stay too long because I just watched the episode here. But I got to see the cast and have a couple drinks with them, and they're so much fun, just so down to earth, like the chillest people ever. And I know they all know who wins, and I was just like dying to ask them, but it's a big surprise for me. They wouldn't let me know.
And you were telling me about George's Papa Smurf vest, or what you call gingerbread vest.
He was wearing the gingerbread man vest that he's been wearing on the show.
Which made a little reprise this episode, too.
I know. It's like his signature outfit now. You know, when cartoon characters like go to their closets and it's like the same outfit a bunch of times, maybe he has like a bunch of Papa Smurf gingerbread men vests. That's a repeater. If it works, it works. Sasha was brunette before she went on the show, and she bleached her hair, and then right after the show ended, she dyed it back to brown.
Oh, wow.
I feel like it was just like this chunk of time I didn't see her, and now she's like back to her normal self, which is funny.
I love it.
Well, let us know if you guys have any news and gossip at home. I guess we will wrap it up from here. Thank you so much for joining us here at AfterBuzz TV. Where can they find you online?
You guys can go ahead and find me on Instagram at _AAMO Music, as well as SoundCloud.com/AAMO Music.
Be sure to check it out. And you can find me online under Danica Kennedy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.